All right, good morning. This morning at 8 o'clock, we issued an evacuation order for Seminole County. This included flood-prone areas, mobile and manufactured homes, and individuals with special needs, those individuals that require electricity to run medical devices. There are now 8 shelters open here in Seminole County. Some of those are special needs, some of those are pet-friendly. All of the information on each one of our shelters can be found at prepareseminole.org. Again, prepareseminole.org. Or you can contact our Citizens Information Hotline, which is open 24 hours a day now at 407-665-0000. Again, 407-665-0000. We are currently here at Lyman High School. Lyman High School is a general population shelter that is pet-friendly. We have individuals from the Seminole County School Board, the Seminole County government, the Sheriff's Office, Longwood Police Department, and Animal Services here to make the accommodations as safe, secure, and comfortable as possible. If you'd like to go to a special needs shelter, we encourage you to register. You can register online, or you can contact the number I just provided, and they will help you register from one of the 3 special needs shelters that we have here in the county. You can bring your pets to special needs shelter. We have a special needs pet-friendly shelter for you. Remember, shelters are places of last resorts. As you'll see in just a few moments, and we're going to do a tour, cots are not provided at evacuation shelters. We do provide medically enhanced cots at special needs shelters. But at the general population shelter, which is where we are today, we do not have cots available. We have a safe place, a concrete masonry block structure, and we have individuals here to help, but not cots. If you need transportation assistance, it is important to register for that right now. It will soon be unsafe for us to transport people to shelters. If you need transportation assistance, please call the Citizens Information Hotline, the number I just provided, so that they can come and help you get to the emergency shelter. Again, it will not be safe for us to do this in a few hours, so please call now so that we can schedule an appointment for you to come, for us to help you get here to the shelter. Just as a reminder, all city, county, and constitutional offices are closed today to the public because staff has been reassigned to disaster duties. Those individuals, teachers, and librarians, and park staff, and those folks are actually staffing the shelter behind us. The folks you see behind me right now are county employees from different various areas of work, and they have been reassigned to help you in the need, if you have the need to come here to an emergency shelter. The Central Transfer Station and the landfill will close at noon. So those are the only 2 sites that are still open, but those will close at noon. Trash collection will be suspended at noon. If for some reason, and the folks are doing as best they can to get to every single person possible, but it is simply impossible for us to get everywhere. If your trash has not been picked up by noon, please take the garbage can into your garage or into a secure location at that time. We will suspend all garbage collection at noon because it will no longer be safe for our individuals to be out picking up garbage. Sandbag locations closed last night simply just because it is just too wet and it's not safe anymore to do sandbag locations. They will reopen, though, as soon as we can, either on Friday or Saturday, understanding that there will be a lot of flood concerns even into next week. We have given out hundreds of thousands, 208,450 sandbags at our various locations. So lots of sandbags have gone out. We hope that everyone is safe and secure. From a National Weather Service call this morning, we had unfortunately some additional bad news, and now we have major flood concerns along the Little Wekiva River and also the St. Johns River. We knew those would go into flood stage, but today we heard that they may go into major flood stage, possibly historic flood stage. So we will be ready to respond to those. And to talk about some of those response efforts, I'm going to turn it over to the Fire Chief, Chief Kinley, to give some more information.
Good morning. Thank you to Seminole County Public Schools and the school board here at Lyman for hosting this event for us to do this press conference. No matter how the storm impacts us, the wind and flooding threats should be taken very seriously. There can and most likely will be major flooding. As the Sheriff's Office has also been stressing, stay off the roads pre, during, and post-storm. Many hurricane emergency responses can be avoided by you just staying home in your house. Seminole County Public Works monitors and maintains over 400 traffic lights in the county. When power is lost, sometimes it takes a long time for those traffic lights to get restarted. If it is absolutely necessary to travel, do so with extreme caution. Any non-functioning traffic lights at four-way stops, treat as a four-way stop. Any traffic light, come to a stop and treat it as a four-way stop. It's also very common for us to say that anytime you come to a flooded area, turn around and don't drown. You don't know what's under that water. There could be a very, very large hole in that water. With home safety, the fire department will be tracking all carbon monoxide events during this hurricane. We don't want to respond to any tragic accidents that could be avoided. Generators are very, very dangerous. Do not use generators in non-ventilated areas. Keep them at least 20 feet away from your home. Never run a generator in your garage, even if the door is open. We're sharing PSAs on generator safety that our firefighters put together. We are also sharing these messages in Spanish, as this information must get out. We're also sharing chainsaw safety information on our social media channels. Also, be careful with candles. That is a fire just waiting to happen. Use flashlights, use battery-powered candles. Try to avoid using flame candles. During the response, as we always stress to everyone, once the wind speeds reach 50 to 70 miles an hour, we may not respond. That's just not safe enough for our vehicles to travel in that kind of weather. At the height of the storm, our responders will be unable to respond to these calls. However, if you have an emergency, still call 911. We will respond as soon as possible, and our highly trained dispatchers may be able to help you with your emergency. As we want to stress, when it comes to 911 calls, only call for emergencies. Non-emergency calls task our operators, and we're unable to get through to those emergency calls as fast. Please use the Citizens Information Line, as you will hear this many, many times, at 407-665-0000. That is your best source for information. And since power is likely to go out, and this is possibly the last time that you'll be able to see one of these news conferences, let's talk about after the storm. This can be a very, very dangerous time, and many accidents and injuries happen after the storm. Trees are unstable if they're on the ground. When you're using chainsaws, ensure that you know how to use that chainsaw and that you're being safe. Down power lines, stay away from them. Standing water, don't go into it. You don't know what's underneath that water. Stay hydrated. When you're out working hard, trying to clear your property, you have to keep water in you. People get dehydrated very quickly. Along with our response after the storm, I just would like to mention that our Task Force 4 Urban Search and Rescue Team is being staged at the Peabody. That includes municipalities of Seminole, Orange, Lake, and Osceola counties, and the cities of Kissimmee, Claremont, and Reedy Creek, along with our civilian partners. Stay safe and informed, and take care of yourself. Family and neighbors, as we are all in this together. Now I'm going to turn this over to our great Sheriff, Dennis Lehman.
Thank you, Chief, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I want to thank Alan Harris and his team and our superintendent and school board members for quickly changing this Seminole County Public School into a shelter. As Alan has said many times, this is not Marriott, and it is a safe location for people to be in. And I think that at this point in the storm, safety is of the most important aspect that any family could think about. You can see people are checking in right now, and there's a lot of new residents here in the state of Florida who have never been through a storm before, and for many this is an incredibly frightening situation. There's alerts, there's hazards, and of course when the footage comes in of the devastation in other areas, people become very, very concerned. So make your plan now. Now's the time to get on the road and go to a shelter. You don't want to leave your home in the middle of the most critical part of the storm. Again, the Seminole County Sheriff's Office is responding to calls for service like we normally would. If you have a problem, we're here to help. This is part of the time where we change our hat largely from crime fighting to more holistic public safety personnel. You'll see deputy sheriffs that are pulling trees out of the roadway. You'll see deputy sheriffs that are driving heavy vehicles helping people evacuate flooded areas. And what's important to remind people here in Seminole County is whatever flooding we have now is like a preview to what we'll experience over the next 10 days. A lot of times the flooding levels raise over time, and we always have concerns in Seminole County in particular areas when it comes to flooding. If you see price gouging, we want to encourage you to contact the Attorney General's hotline for price gouging. That's 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. If you see people elevating the prices and all of those things, the Attorney General has a hotline for that, or you can call us and we would send deputies out to investigate. As our fire chief said, be cautious at the intersections if you are on the road. Should we lose power, those intersections are on battery backup. Should battery backup wear out, we will put generators out at those locations to make sure that we can keep those traffic signals powered. Word of caution, we track those generators. So if you try to steal them, we'll show up at your house or wherever you're at to make an arrest. And every time we have a storm, somebody is out there and tries to steal a generator, and we go and make an issue out of them. So we track those generators, we lock them up. Please don't try to do that. If you're committing crimes during the state of emergency, we'll do all that we can to make an example out of your behavior. Lastly, when it comes to your own situational awareness, I know we have not seen much of that here in Seminole County. I'm incredibly proud of how many people are off the road and how many businesses have self-regulated and closed business. So I got to tell you, I am so impressed with the amount of people who have self-regulated what they should do, not only for themselves, but I suspect for the workers that work within their business. It helps us out tremendously when we're out on the roads, where we're responding to calls. So if you're in your house, you're sheltering in place, please don't be one of these individuals that are having the hurricane party, because when your normal faculties are impaired and you have an emergency that occurs in your house, it makes the situation much worse. So again, I'm not the party police, but for me and my family, I want to make sure that I have my sense about me. Should anything happen to my home, don't go out there in the middle of the storm, and be safe. And if you need us, we're out here and willing to respond to whatever we can. At this time, I'll introduce our great health officer here in Seminole County, Donna Walsh. Donna.
Good morning, and thank you, Sheriff. Early this morning, teams from the Florida Department of Health in Seminole County arrived at the special needs shelters to prepare for opening at 8 a.m. The special needs shelters are located at Bentley Elementary, which is a pet-friendly shelter, as well as Layer Elementary Schools. And they're staffed by health department nurses and other general services employees. As a reminder, special needs shelters are intended for individuals who may have a medical condition requiring enhanced services, such as electricity for medical devices, the need for medical cots, and monitoring by medical staff. Individuals who would like to register, and we are still receiving registrations for special needs shelters, you can call the Citizens Information Line at 407-665-0000 for information on how to pre-register or for information about the special needs shelters, or this late in the game here, as the storm is nearing, you can show at the special needs shelters and you can be registered on site. Our team of nurses will talk to you and make sure that we have the accommodations necessary for the special needs shelters. These shelters provide basic food services, as I mentioned, trained medical staff, as well as other medical supplies. But please do remember to bring any special medical devices or supplies that you need at home to the shelters. We have limited supplies there. So for instance, we do have oxygen tanks in the event that the power and the generators go out and your oxygen concentrators don't work. But the schools, I will reassure you, are equipped with electricity and also backup generators. So that is very unlikely that we will go without power, hence why we have the special needs shelters. But again, we do have the oxygen tanks in the event that that occurs. Also, if you have medications, please make sure you bring all of your medications with you. We do not have medications, prescription medications at the shelters. So I know I mentioned the other day that the governor put out an order that early prescription refills are permitted during this state of emergency. You still have time while the businesses are open to get those if need be. But please beware, as the sheriff mentioned, a lot of businesses are closing early due to the inclement weather. Also want you to be aware that if you have a caregiver at home, make sure that caregiver accompanies you to the special needs shelter. Although we have staff there, we don't have enough staff for one-on-one care. So our staff will be visiting everyone who comes to the shelter, but a caregiver, if you have one at home, needs to accompany you to the shelters. We also have refrigerators at the special needs shelters in the event that you need to refrigerate any of your medications. In addition, if you are on a special diet, please make sure you bring those food items to the shelter as well. Food is provided at special needs shelters as well as general population shelters. But again, those on special diets need to make sure that they bring those items with them. The Florida Department of Health stands ready to support our most vulnerable. We encourage you to take all the precautions we have spoken about over the last week or so as we were preparing for this storm. Thank you, and be safe.
Thank you, Donna. We did hear that there was some audio issues with one of our feeds. Just know that this will be broadcast, recorded, and posted on our YouTube channel, and also you can get it through our website. So if you did miss any audio, you can get it there. There was a question online about curfew. A curfew will be decided as it becomes dangerous for persons to travel around the community. That would be a joint decision between all of the police chiefs, the sheriff, myself. We will make that decision. We try to limit that, of course, to the only the times it's really critical. But that will be some discussions that we have throughout the day. Are there any other questions from our news folks?
Is there any perspective you can give us about flooding that we could see compared to past storms?
Yeah, so the National Weather Service did call us this morning directly, which is never a good thing for the National Weather Service to call you directly on a cell phone. We love the people over there, but that's not normally something we like to see on our phones. And it was because they had predicted historic flooding along the Little Wekiva River, potentially, and this is just one model run, but potentially something we have never seen before. And then we are looking at major flood in the Lake Harney area. Now, we have seen that before. We saw that back in Tropical Storm Faye. Back in 2008, so something near that on Harney, and historic on Little Wekiva, a little bit higher than what we saw in Irma. On Monroe and Jessup, those are two big lakes also that we are concerned about. They seem to be less than Faye, but still flooding. And really, again, it just depends on where the water falls, and we don't know where that's going to be. These are all just forecast models, but where the track comes in and where those feeder bands come in, that's what's really going to make the difference.
One more time, what are the wind speeds where it's too dangerous
I'll let the fire chief talk about that.
So it depends on the vehicles, but it's anywhere between 50 and 70 miles an hour. It's different for our rescues versus our fire engines and our heavy ladders.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you all very much for being here. Yeah, come on up, Myrna. We'll do the Spanish interpretation now.
You guys want to follow me?